Coming up on AgweekTV. Soybean harvest is underway here in South Dakota, and even though farmers aren't getting record yields, it will be better than 2019.
There's chickens being raised in Northfield, Minnesota under a jungle-like habitat.
And talk market strategies heading into harvest. Welcome to AgweekTV. I'm Michelle Rook. The harvest is off to a near record start in the region, with the dry weather pushing efforts along. Soybean harvest was about a third done in most states in the region on September 27th, but likely pushed past 50% during the week. Corn harvest is just getting started, but is still ahead of average as some farmers are combining with some standability issues. The soybean harvest is nearly 2 weeks ahead of normal in South Dakota, which is a 180-degree change from last fall. In fact, the whole season was ideal up until August, which is producing some mixed yield results in the field. South Dakota farmers had high hopes for soybeans this season, but Tim Ostrom says Mother Nature crushed record yield potential on his farm.
All of August was dry and took off probably 20% of our yields. We probably would have had the best crop of beans we ever would have had, but unfortunately, the rains didn't come through for us in our part of the state anyway.
He says the plants are loaded with pods, but the beans are small, which trimmed production.
Anywhere from 50 to 60 on some of the dry land.
Ostrom says the crop is also drying down fast at only 9% moisture.
That's why we're keeping at it, just trying to get it before we lose any more moisture, because the moisture is yield too.
Farther north, David Iverson says the late season stress is apparent in his beans.
Some of the top pods did not fill completely. They aborted. Quite often there's 3, there's not 4 kernels per pod.
So he's harvesting an average crop for his farm, but was hoping for better.
Close to 50. It's not exceptional, but we're thankful that this year we got everything planted, so there's more acres, so that helps.
And with better prices, he hopes to make up the difference. In areas where farmers caught a few rains and avoided frost damage, yields are better than expected, especially early beans.
Most fields are, I'd say, pleasantly surprised. Yields are 60 to 70 in this neighborhood, and as high as 80s in places that the moisture was a little more balanced.
So he thinks that will pull up the state soybean yield average over 2019.
Because we're, instead of harvesting maybe 70% of the field, we're harvesting 95%. So it's going to be a very good, strong statewide and countywide averages.
Even though an early frost pushed along the silage corn crop in parts of the Dakotas, many would say the corn chopping season is a big improvement over 2019. Jordan Ryerson farms in South Dakota and runs a custom chopping operation. We found him working in central North Dakota. He says between the mud and snow last year was painful. While the early frost dried some corn prematurely, Ryerson says moisture is running from about 55 to more than 70%, which should allow for proper fermentation. He says many producers he's chopped for in 2020 are a year behind in most tasks after a wet, frustrating fall of 2019.
Everybody's got manure in the lots yet, and calves still in the feed yard some places, and everybody's just still trying to catch up.
The North Dakota Ag Department added custom corn choppers to its harvest hotline after getting several calls from producers. The number is on your screen. During the harvest, farmers typically need additional help. The ag labor force was already critically tight, though, and that's escalated during the pandemic. So the state departments of agriculture have been working with USDA and the Department of Labor on solutions.
We have workers out here that got here late. A lot of those employers would like to have extensions. We've heard some rumbling because we have a high unemployment rate. They may deny H-2A workers for the 21 cropping season.
He says it's also unlikely Congress will pass a legislative fix during an election year. USDA's quarterly stocks report offered some bullish changes to old crop grain inventory, especially for corn. Corn stocks came in at 1.995 billion bushels, over 250 million bushels below the September WASDE and 225 million below 2019. USDA pegged soybean stocks at 523 million bushels, nearly 400 million under 2019 and 55 million below estimates. Wheat stocks were down 187 million bushels from last year, with production cut by 12 million bushels from August 1st. Joining us with markets is Luke Swenson. A bullish report in terms of quarterly stocks. So the big question is, where did the stocks go, or were they ever there to begin with, Luke?
I think the latter part is the big debate everyone's making. When you look at where reports have been over the last 10 years, like something like this in September is really unprecedented. So coming into it, no one was expecting a big move, but a 250 million bushels disappearing is unheard of. I think the average over the last 10 years is probably around like a 6 million bushel change. So everything kind of defaults back to looking at quality of corn. Did we chew through it faster that way? Did a billion bushels of low test weight become 800 million when you actually went through the pipeline? And that's the most likely scenario people are looking at.
So with that in mind, once we get through maybe some harvest pressure, what is the upside potential here in corn?
Is China going to keep buying?
Well, that's true in beans too. That's the important question here.
We've been making the argument that China's played their hand. They're going to buy the whole way through the election. So if they keep showing up, I think you're going to test the $4 mark and you're going to keep going. However, we are quick to tell people as we're hedging and kind of re-owning with calls, don't get too greedy on this thing, because if they disappear, it'll offset a couple other issues if they pop up in South America this winter as well.
That same dynamic is true for soybeans. How much more do we think they'll buy of soybeans, and can we push, say, past the $11 mark?
I don't think it'd take very much. The big question is okay, we're looking at a report next week coming off of basically today, or 1st of October's numbers. Where are you going to estimate where the actual yield is? Do we have enough yield numbers for people to kind of adjust it either way, up a bushel or down a bushel, when only about 20% of the crop is harvested? So
a lot of guys have sold soybeans off the combine. Any other marketing strategies?
We've been really aggressive on the basis side, saying lock that up, take this really tight number we haven't seen in years for harvest. And then we've gotten to about half cash sold, and we own a good chunk of that with calls. Just happily let this thing work and be able to sleep at night. If they bolt a buck on a surprise next week for some reason, we'll happily be there, but don't give up a $2 rally either in the process.
Wheat stocks and production were also pulled down, and so do we have a bullish argument now for wheat to move higher?
I think the bigger barrier for us up in the north is looking at where is next year's spring wheat going to be. We got a lot of guys with good quality wheat in the bin. That's not going anywhere, and you're getting 21 pushing up towards the $6 mark in December. We're close to $5.90. I think that's going to be a big resistance on top, as guys are happily going to be shifting some acres over there if they get the chance.
All right. Thanks so much for being with us.
No worries.
That is Luke Swenson with The Money Farm. Ahead on AgweekTV, we'll tell you about a movement to raise free-range chickens on a large scale.
Small or large, Superior Grain Equipment has a storage solution for you with a wide variety of bin options and accessories, along with site planning and superior customer service. Plus, from top to bottom, we offer the industry's best bins and warranties to protect your products and your grain storage investment. Get superior quality, protection, and reliability with generations of experience and dependability. Make the superior choice today with Superior Grain Equipment.
North Star Ag is proud to add some exciting new products to their lineup this summer, including Meyer Manufacturing forage boxes, Myers Equipment manure spreaders, H&S beet carts, and Summers Manufacturing land rollers and tillage. This August, North Star Ag will be moving to a convenient new location just off I-94 in Tower City, North Dakota. We look forward to seeing you there.
This is Dennis Belisky reminding you we do auctions and we do them well. You've built your operation with hard work, and when it's time to sell, all or part, you deserve the best. Details from repairs and preparation to promotion and settlements are not routine. Chances are you'll only do this once, so we'll tailor an auction just for you and get it done right. On-site at your farm or added to one of our highly successful Alaris Center auctions, we have the skill, reputation, and integrity to meet your needs with best-in-class commitment and quality service. Find us at resourceauction.com or call 701-757-4015.
Advanced Grain Handling is your regional dealer for grain handler dryers, bins, and accessories. With Grain Handler's continuous mixed flow drying systems, you're capable of high levels of grain dryer efficiency on all types of grain, including seed grain. Advanced Grain Handling also carries West Steel's quality stainless steel products for on-farm and commercial grain storage solutions. Advanced Grain Handling has licensed and trained service techs and a licensed electrical shop. Get a hold of Chad Kylo to find the perfect solution for your farm.
With the success of the Case IH Steiger Quad Track and Magnum Road Track tractors, it's no secret why Case IH is the leader of the track. So it wasn't surprising when the competition started imitating us. But only Case IH offers a 5-axle design to give you a smoother ride, more power to the ground, with less berming and compaction. Still, we're flattered.
In fact, if we weren't already red, we'd be blushing.
Southeast Minnesota is home to a new movement in regenerative agriculture. Right now the focus is on chickens, but organizers are hoping to expand the practice. Noah Fish has more in this week's Agweek cover story.
It's simply better. It's a better chicken, it's a better farming operation, it's a more rewarding way to work with the land.
Northfield, Minnesota is the epicenter of a regenerative farming movement focused on system-level organizing. It includes raising poultry under a jungle-like habitat.
To collectively fight for their rights.
As a farmer, Reginaldo Hazlet Moroquin says he lets nature do all the work. His chickens are raised in a simplified free-range environment, and their care takes less than 2 hours a day.
Tree range is really the expression of all of these integrated management systems that aims at putting chickens back in the natural environment, which is under the trees.
Right now, there are 6 farms using the tree range system in the region. Hazlet Moroquin says by next fall, there will be 10 fully operating farms, with another 10 in the pipeline. A processing plant will open in Stacyville, Iowa next year, and as they open the plant, they are scaling up from a few 100,000 chickens to about 1 million when it's fully operational. For that, they will need 50 to 75 farms participating.
Basically what we have done is make a true, real, regenerative poultry production system profitable.
I was fascinated. I just wanted to learn more.
Sabrina Garbett is a board member for the nonprofit Frogtown Farms in St. Paul, one of the largest urban farms in the U.S. She came to Northfield to learn more about sustainable ag systems.
We incorporate some of those practices currently, but we want to learn more. We know there's plenty more we can do.
The goal of the system is to deploy regenerative poultry at a scale in the bordering regions of Wisconsin, Iowa, and Minnesota. At Northfield, Minnesota, this is Noah Fish for Agweek.
You can read more on Noah's cover story in Agweek magazine or at agweek.com. The organic market is growing, and a Minneapolis company is helping farmers get their product to consumers. Pipeline Foods is focused on developing the non-GMO and organic food supply system. In just 3 years, the company has grown to $300 million in gross revenue and is one of the top 5 companies handling organic and non-GMO grains and ingredients. They have 11 facilities from Bow Bells, North Dakota to Buenos Aires, Argentina. Vice President Neil Junkies says their focus is on transparency in the supply chain because today's consumers want to know where their food comes from all the way back to the farmer.
When you think about the new clean label markets that are developing, it's really about safety and security to the consumer and the health of the soil and health of the farmers, both economically and physically.
Pipeline Foods buys grains from nearly 3,000 farmers in the U.S. and Canada. About 80% comes from the Dakotas, Minnesota, and Iowa. Ahead on AgweekTV, we'll see how John Deere and Pheasants Forever are improving conservation.
If you have a basement waterproofing or structural emergency, Safe Basements North is here to help. Our team of basement repair professionals will find the cause of the problem and work with you to develop a permanent solution. Safe Basements North is following CDC recommendations and is here to help keep your home and family safe. For a free consultation, go to safebasementsnorth.com and take advantage of our 12-month, no interest, no payments offer.
I'm Jesse Treble, and peace of mind is a safe basement.
You've worked your entire life for this. Through the ups and downs, you've stood strong, building a legacy to be proud of. With all good things in this world, there are still risks. It's a part of life. You need protection you can count on. We're not just here to insure your equipment, your vehicles, or your home. We're here to protect everything you've built. Farmers Mutual of Nebraska, always alongside you.
You can get the field results you want in varying conditions with the flexibility of the Summers VRT Renegade. Featuring on-the-fly blade angle adjustment from 0 to 19 degrees. And if you want the simplicity of a Super Coulter with the ability to move a little dirt, you'll love the all-new Summers Super Coulter Samurai. Go to summersmfg.com or visit your local dealer to learn more about North America's broadest line of tillage equipment and other products from North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing.
Steffes Group, selling land and the equipment to farm it since 1960. If you're interested in selling or have questions about our auction process, head to our website at steffesgroup.com to contact us at any one of our 4 locations located throughout the Midwest. You can also visit and subscribe to our YouTube channel to view all of our auction previews and recaps to stay up to date on the market in your area.
Go beyond the headlines with an Agweek membership. Get in-depth agribusiness reporting, original farm and ranch stories, and fact-based research for the most comprehensive ag news in the upper Midwest. Experienced ag journalists bring you exclusive ag news, insights, and policy updates you won't find anywhere else. Become a member today and get unlimited access to Agweek and AgweekTV.
A dry and windy week pushed the harvest along. Will we continue to have favorable conditions? Here's John with our AgriWeather Outlook.
As the general weather pattern continues to evolve this September, a couple of things have really become evident. One, it is a much different September than we had last year. Instead of widespread tremendous rainfall, it's actually been a fairly dry fall so far. Northern Plains, upper Midwest, corn bean belt, back through the northern wheat areas, ideal for harvest weather. More chilly weather is on tap. That's the other thing. We've been seeing a lot of back and forth that have trended to slightly cooler than average throughout most of the agricultural regions of the United States, except, of course, the West, which has not only been burning, but still suffering through just a phenomenal late summer heat wave, and it looks like that will continue. But about the rainfall, I want to take a look here to begin with at this anomaly map. Rainfall anomaly means how different from average it is. So this is a scale where you get into the greens, it's a little wet, the blues are very wet, the brown's a little wet, the red's extremely wet. And this is just for the month of September so far. Northern Plains down through the northern Corn Belt, mostly fairly dry. Nothing really exceptionally dry. It's rained in most areas. See a bullseye there in southern Indiana. And a couple of areas a little wet. Most of this really wet weather that you're seeing down south, that's from tropical activity. So really, it's been a very dry September so far. Going forward, we've got a little bit of a cool snap coming up this week as the jet stream will dive bomb down through the eastern U.S. This is going to send cool weather pretty deep into the Midwest. By cool, this time of year, I'm talking about highs in the 50s, maybe a few highs in the 40s, mostly 50s, some 60s, and nights that might be cool enough for a little bit of frost. So midweek, we're going to see some of that. Some of the Corn Belt will get just scattered light frost, maybe a stray killing freeze, but mostly it won't be too rough. And that cool weather will actually go pretty far south during the week. Meanwhile, what goes up must come down, or the opposite of that. Out west, it remains very warm. Looks like another surge of blast furnace weather with extremely warm weather up as far north as Washington and Oregon. As we go into the first full week of October, I think things will even up a little bit. That is to say, the cool won't be quite as cool, the warm not quite as warm, but the general pattern shape will continue about the same. The rainfall pattern in this particular next 2 weeks, it's a very simple forecast, really. Maybe not bone dry, but mostly so. Over this week through October 3rd through Saturday, I expect little to no significant, maybe a few hundredths of an inch here and there, but the western 2/3 of the country quite dry. If it's going to be rainy, it's going to be in the eastern part. And as we go into the second week here, which would be the first full week of October, that doesn't change very much. Not a lot of rain in the forecast.
Growing up as a kid, Gateway was always the grain bin building and the grain handling people that were out in our area. One of the reasons we chose to go with Gateway was they're the leader in the industry and they are the #1 Brock dealer in the United States. We've really liked the Brock design and some of the designs that Gateway has come up with throughout the years. My best advice would be to just put your trust in them and let them come up with a design that's going to fit your needs.
2020 has started off where 2019 left off, with a lot of uncertainty and concern. Is your farming operation ready to take the volatility this year has to offer? Do you have a marketing plan in place to take advantage of opportunity? Are you finding it hard to separate the noise from the news? Talk to the professionals at Martinson Ag. we can help you make sound risk management decisions that will help your operation survive during these unusual times.
They say when the going gets tough, the tough get going. At OK Tire, we're here to keep you going. From Firestone tires and replacements to retreads and even Firestone tracks, we have you covered. Our certified Firestone experts are ready to get you back up and running, no matter if you're on site or in the field, saving you time and money. OK Tire, we keep the tough going.
We have products that no other companies have. That gives us a bit of an advantage and a bit of an edge, and it provides some security to our customer base that we've been here, we're here to stay, and we want to still provide these new innovations to the customers today. It's cold granulated products where we're putting together multiple nutrients. We've got products in our Micro Essentials lineup that contain sulfur and zinc, and we also have products on our potash side which contain boron, which is a newer product for us, which is called Aspire.
We're going to talk today about a revolutionary auto steer product that you guys have developed.
We back one of these things in, it'll drain a 40-acre patch just within hours.
What can you tell us about what dairy farmers do to make sure that their animals are happy?
Their care is our primary concern.
Is there still time for producers to get storage bins up?
Absolutely. We still can definitely get something up and ready for corn harvest.
Pheasants Forever and John Deere are helping farmers improve their operations with conservation efforts. That, in turn, will help keep the land more sustainable for farmers and improve wildlife habitat for hunters. Rose Dunn has more.
So at Pheasants Forever, we're the habitat organization.
Pheasants Forever's mission is to put conservation on the landscape to improve wildlife habitat. And they're partnering with John Deere to use precision ag technology to achieve that.
We're using data to help drive the decisions that are made, to help growers make better decisions on where to place that conservation.
The nonprofit organization works with private landowners using precision ag technology to find unproductive places on their farms to turn into great wildlife habitat. It may be along the edges of fields or around wetlands.
I probably started using precision ag technology in 2002, 2003.
Berlin, North Dakota farmer Christoph Just understands the importance of ag tech. He's the National 2020 Pheasants Forever Precision Farmer of the Year, a big honor for ag conservation. He says these practices just make sense from both a conservation standpoint and a financial one.
What made me decide to adopt some new practices was actually seeing the numbers on paper. We were investigating it already, and after actually seeing the numbers and how that could result in a positive ROI, really pushed me into doing some of their programs.
We feel that there is room on every farm for conservation and for habitat, and precision ag is just bringing us into the 21st century.
Partnering with John Deere brings even more opportunity to farmers across the country.
The partnership with John Deere has really allowed us to reach out to those local John Deere dealerships within the communities that we have precision ag and conservation specialists. They're able to walk in the door and have this national partnership, how we can help their growers look at their data and find those conservation solutions.
And Bush says using these conservation practices can also help a farmer be more profitable by turning marginal acres into conservation habitat.
Farm the best, conserve the rest.
In Berlin, North Dakota, this is Rose Dunn for Agweek.
South Dakota goat breeders came together for the first ever Rushmore State Royal Goat Show in Brookings. To be eligible for the show, the exhibitors had to purchase a goat from one of the 12 breeders that organized the event. While many livestock shows canceled due to COVID, the breeders behind the Rushmore State Royal decided to go ahead for the kids who worked so hard to prepare for it.
And if you walk around the barn, you can see people spaced out. They're trying to be safe, they're trying to be healthy, but yet it gives these kids an opportunity to show what they've learned, their skills and their abilities.
The show had an impressive payout, a total of $25,000. That's much more than other shows in the region. Their pumpkin crop was a washout, but that's not stopping the fun at this pumpkin patch. We'll explain after this.
For Agweek, this is Mikkel Pates at Watertown, South Dakota.
We'll look at the positive impacts that dairy can have on the community.
A Minnesota couple has put a grain bin to a new use. Spoiler alert, it's not grain.
This elaborate system of tubing with the downhill slope is how Maplewood State Park gathers sap to make syrup.
Thanks for joining us for this week's edition of AgweekTV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com or follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well.
Agweek brings you timely agriculture news from field to fork in digital, print, and television. Fresh every week, join Jenny Schlecht from the Agweek editorial team and me, Al Windmill, from the sales and marketing team for a deeper dive into farm and ranch stories, along with guest interviews with personalities from the world of agriculture. If you're involved in farming, ranching, or agribusiness, the Agweek podcast is the show for you.
Every year, 40% of all food in the U.S. never gets eaten.
40%? That's almost half the food we produce.
Food waste is a serious problem. It impacts all of us.
And it's expensive. Your family is throwing $1,500 a year in the trash.
We're working hard to put food waste on the chopping block.
And you can do the same at home.
Learn how to cook it, store it, and share it.
Just don't waste it.
Go to SaveTheFood.com.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. Even though we are one of the most food-rich countries in the world, 15 million children don't know where their next meal is coming from. This is unacceptable, and something the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks is working to solve. Instead of accepting that our country lets billions of pounds of surplus food go to waste every year, Feeding America has made it their mission to help families in need by rescuing this food. Through food pantries and meal programs, the nationwide network of food banks provides more than 3 billion meals, serving virtually every community in the United States, including yours. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank by visiting feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
A Northeast North Dakota farm family has a side business that's very popular this time of year. Carrie Nelson and her husband Todd have been operating a pumpkin patch at their Amaretto farm for 24 years. They also grow spring wheat, pinto beans, soybeans, corn, and canola, and have more than 700 honeybee hives. The 35-acre patch features fun activities for kids and adults, including a large corn maze. But this year, the one thing they don't have is pumpkins. A heavy June rain wiped out their crop.
So all of our pumpkins got flooded. It is a reality of farming that things don't go the way you want them to. You know, there's so many more things that we do besides pumpkins. So I think a lot of our customers come just to do all the activities.
The Nelsons implemented COVID safety measures, including hand washing and sanitizer stations, but some activities have been canceled. The pumpkin patch is open until October 31st, weather permitting. Thanks for watching this week's edition of AgweekTV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Have yourself a great and safe week.